Once upon a time there was a little boy called Silly Billy. Billy had always been told not to blow things out of proportion, but that only made him want to try harder. One rainy afternoon, while Mum was folding laundry and Dad was pretending to fix a squeaky cupboard door, really just hiding from chores, Billy found Grandad's old bubble pipe tucked inside a dusty biscuit tin. Gran swore it once belonged to a magician, though Grandad insisted it was just for serious experiments in froth. Billy, of course, took this as a challenge. He dipped the pipe into a bowl of soapy water, puffed his cheeks, and blew with all the determination of a boy who believed bubbles could be bigger than footballs. Out came a shimmering globe, wobbling like jelly on a plate. Sulky the cat narrowed his eyes, unimpressed, while Jock the cockerel strutted in, declaring loudly, "That's not a bubble, that's a balloon with ideas above its station." The bubble grew and grew, stretching across the living room until Mum sighed, "Billy, if that thing bursts, I'll be scrubbing soap off the curtains for weeks." Dad chuckled, "Well, at least it'll be the cleanest mess he's ever made." Adult smirked at the double meaning. Billy was indeed blowing things out of proportion, both literally and figuratively. Billy's grin widened. The bubble shimmered with rainbow colors, reflecting Gran's spectacles and Grandad's magnifying glass. It was so big that Sulky's tail twitched nervously, as if he feared being swallowed whole. Billy whispered, "This bubble isn't just soap, it's a secret waiting to pop." And then, with a wobble and a wobble more, the bubble didn't burst. It cracked. Something inside was hatching. From the bubble's glistening shell came a squeak, then a squeal, then a sound suspiciously like a kettle boiling over. Out popped a tiny dragon, no bigger than Billy's toy train, with scales that shimmered like soap suds and wings that flapped like soggy dishcloths. Billy gasped, "It's a bubble dragon." Mum blinked, "Well, that's one way to get the washing up done." Dad muttered, "Better than a plumber's bill." Adults chuckled at the layered joke. Dragons breathing bubbles instead of fire might finally solve the nation's limescale problem. The dragon hiccuped, releasing a puff of bubbles that floated around the room. Jock crowed indignantly, "Oi! Who invited this scaly soap dispenser? I'm supposed to be the life of the party." Sulky flicked his tail, unimpressed, though secretly relieved the dragon wasn't breathing flames. Gran leaned in with a twinkle, "Looks like Billy's imagination has finally cleaned up its act." Billy giggled as the dragon perched on his shoulder, blowing bubbles that stuck to Dad's curls and Mum's cardigan. Grandad scribbled notes in his pocket book, subject, Bubble Dragon. Properties, fizzy, friendly, prone to frothy accidents. Adult smiled knowingly. Grandad's scientific notes were really just excuses to avoid fixing the squeaky slippers. The dragon's bubbles filled the room, turning it into a frothy wonderland. Billy declared, "This dragon isn't scary, it's squeaky clean." Mum raised an eyebrow, "Let's hope it doesn't leave soap rings on the furniture." Soon, the bubble dragon's hiccups grew stronger. Each hiccup sent out bubbles bigger than Billy's head, bouncing off walls, sticking to ceilings, and rolling across the carpet like runaway puddings. Dad tried to catch one, only to slip and land in a heap, muttering, "Well, that's me in a bubble bath without the bath." Adults chuckled at the double entendre. Dad was literally in bubbles, but figuratively in hot water with Mum. Mum sighed, "Billy, this dragon is turning the house into a laundrette." Gran winked, "At least it smells fresher than last week's socks." Jock strutted about, declaring, "I'll show this dragon who rules the roost." He puffed his chest, only to be swallowed by a bubble that floated him across the room like a feathered balloon. Sulky smirked, clearly enjoying Jock's humiliation. Billy chased after the dragon, laughing as bubbles popped around him. Grandad tried to measure one with his magnifying glass, only to end up with soap on his beard. "Remarkable," he chuckled, "a creature that cleans while it causes chaos. Quite the paradox." Adult smiled knowingly. Grandad had just described parenting in a nutshell. The dragon hiccuped again, sending a bubble so large it trapped Billy and Jock together. Inside, Billy giggled, "We're in a bubble of trouble." Jock squawked, "I demand an exit strategy." Adult smirked, the phrase worked both ways. Finally, Mum clapped her hands. "Enough. Billy, either you tame that dragon or I'll be hanging bubbles out on the washing line." Billy realized the dragon wasn't naughty, it was nervous. "It only hiccups when it feels wobbly," he whispered. He gently stroked its sudsy scales, calming it down. The dragon's bubbles grew smaller, softer, drifting like gentle soap flakes. Mum smiled. "Well done, Billy. You've scrubbed away the chaos." Dad chuckled, "And saved me from another DIY disaster." Adults grinned. The double entendre was clear. Billy had cleaned up both the mess and the situation. Gran handed Billy a biscuit. "Every dragon needs a treat." Grandad added, "And every boy needs a story worth telling." Jock strutted free from his bubble prison, feathers ruffled but pride intact. Sulky curled up, unimpressed but secretly relieved the house wasn't on fire. The dragon nestled in Billy's lap, blowing one last bubble that floated gently to the ceiling before popping with a soft plop. Billy declared, "See? Even dragons can be gentle if you listen." Mum kissed his forehead, Dad ruffled his hair, and Gran whispered, "Don't tell your mum, but I rather like dragons in the house." Adults chuckled. The joke worked both ways. The family gathered together, laughter echoing through the cozy home. The bubble dragon had turned a rainy day into a memory sparkling with warmth, mischief, and just enough soap to keep everyone squeaky clean. And the moral of the story is even the biggest bubbles burst more gently when met with kindness.